I've heard many trips over the last several years, and we've been wanting to go on another missions trip. But as soon as I read the description of this, and it's saying we're going to be putting on a summer camp in the Czech Republic for the students that come out, I was totally in love with it because my group loves camp. We go to camp every year. That's something we love to do. We're passionate about it. I said, this is something that our group could do. And it just sprung off the page, and I knew it was the Lord because I just felt it in my spirit, and we just ran with it from there.
Well, I just prayed that God would help us to be a light to those people, and I know that they weren't, it wasn't expected for a lot of like salvations, like they said, but I just prayed and was hoping and expecting that God would let us show our love to them, so we could reach out to people and they will see Him through us. And I was just believing for great things to happen while we were down there.
When we went there, we had expectations of planting seeds. That's it. There was no expectations for, a lot of people getting saved. We were hoping and believing for it, but we were told that this was not the environment, that the environment was not really conducive to such things right now.
Going on many trips before, I expected to get there and, people are going to be people anywhere you go. I was like, well, I know that people aren't going to be mean or rude to us. They're going to come out and they'll probably participate. I just didn't know when it came to services what to expect when we got in there. We were told we wouldn't see a lot of salvations, if any. And so to get there and to witness people coming into the services with smiles on their faces because of the love that we had shown during the day was just really breathtaking at times.
The first night we got there, we actually went and walked through the villages, and there were people around, and we actually got to play a game of pickup soccer, some of us did, and they weren't very acceptive, even though we're the Americans, so we're kind of like the circus act. They weren't even very receptive to us walking around and trying to talk to them or, trying to be friends with them. They weren't into that.
You could see the people looking at us, staring at us, because there was a big group, a number of us. I think there was 27 of us total that went. And it was a little uneasy at first, just trying to get acclimated and just trying to figure out exactly what to do, because there was 27 of us and only 5 interpreters. So we knew that a lot of the stuff we were going to have to do was going to have to be done based through action. And what we did by going through village to village is just kind of showed our presence there, and showed them that, hey, here's a bunch of Americans. After the day when we went and passed out the flyers, the next day camp officially started, and we had already set up the tent, and we set up some soccer goals, and people just started coming slowly at first, but the first day, it was more just maybe a dozen or so teenagers that come out. But as the week went on and word spread, it just grew and grew exponentially.
On the first day, nobody really wanted to greet anybody because they thought it would be really hard. So I saw nobody was over there, but people were lining up. So I went over there to go try and talk to somebody. They looked at me like I was crazy because I was speaking English and I forgot, they can't understand me. But whenever, I guess because I welcomed them first, that I would try and learn their names, and by the time I learned their names and they learned who I was, it was like we grew a friendship like I would back at home, and that we would just sit there and attempt to talk to each other about things they do and how school was and things like that. And we grew a friendship that would want them to be around us more, and the more they were around us, they were more likely to go to service and things like that.
When we were down there working with the kids and playing all day, we just see the kids smiling and running around and always wanting to come play with us, and that's what really got us to motivated it to go back out and never give up and never just go sit down, but to always go and have an encounter with them and just spend time with them, because that's really what we were there for.
I thought it was really cool for the fact that they didn't even have to know anything about us, but just because we were playing something that they wanted to join in.
We played soccer, we did VBS, we danced around and acted really stupid. We fell over things, we kicked a soccer ball around for hours on end, we got hit in the face with a soccer ball for hours on end.
To go out there every day and just, play with these kids and run around and act crazy all day long and just love on them and fall in love with them and just see them grow and see them experience freedom for the first times in their life.
It was awesome to see our own young people go out and to grab them, and encourage them, say, come out and play, or just, interact with them. Even though there was that language barrier, they were always smiling, they were always kind, they were always generous.
You had to keep going even when you were out of go. You were running on fumes, but you were having fun because they were relationships that you can't get anywhere else.
The early mornings, late nights, too tired to even go to sleep sometimes. It drains you, and it's all worth it. 10,000% all day long. I would play soccer with them until my legs fell off, if it meant that they would come listen to Jesus for 30 minutes.
Well, as people continued to come out and they really became our friends over the course of the days we were there, and we really got to share ourselves and share our lives with them and really love on them, you really got to see these walls just start to fall down. You really got to see us break through these barriers that they had set up in their lives.
It's a little corny at times, but the saying is true. Your actions speak louder than words. Because there was 27 of us, only 5 interpreters, only a few of us at a select time could have an interpreter. So it was all based on your actions and how you interacted with that person.
I think one of my favorite quotes of all times is, preach the gospel and use words if necessary. And that's what we did.
It speaks volumes of the ability to break down barriers and to break through any stronghold that Satan has, just speaking the love of Christ into people's lives. We really got to see relationships grow and build just based on the fact that we were loving them through it. Regardless of whether or not they wanted to play or they wanted to spend time or they wanted to come to our services, we just loved on them.
If all of us were doing our own thing, it wouldn't have worked at all. So I think it was really cool how each one of us has our own different things, how the boys would be better at playing sports, and then the girls would go and do something like the salon they did, that they would each contribute things that they were really good at to come together so everybody could have their own thing that would all work together in unison so everybody would have something they all liked.
The services were pretty awesome. We split up services with the teen challenge, and they did worship most times, and then one of our guys would give a testimony and then preach or something. At the beginning of the week, the kids there and some of the adults from the Czech, they would play all day during the camp, and then when it came to service time, they would come in for a minute and then walk back out and start playing again. But then later on, towards the middle of the week, after we really got to know them better and built relationships with them, they started sticking around, and a lot more people started participating in the services. And at the end of the week, we started getting a lot more responses for salvations. We got 20 salvations in 1 week, so that was amazing. And a lot of people that we talked to told us how much of a difference we made in their lives and how glad that we came to fellowship with them and love them. And I think they really enjoyed the services, and we enjoyed all of it.
I mean, I think the main thing that I took away from this trip, and really the big thing that I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life, is that we don't have to do anything to really reach the lost. All we have to do is share God's love.
I was blown away by the impact we ended up having, knowing that the odds were against that happening. But odds don't matter with God.
They're hungering for something else. They don't even know what it is. And I thought that was one of the greatest opportunities of us being there.
Coming back home, what it's done for me is I look at everything differently. I look at the neighborhood that we're in right now, and I'm like, how come we're not doing those very same things right here? And it's just changed my mindset and my brokenheartedness for the lost. Because it's like everywhere I look around, I'm like, these people don't know the Lord just as much as the people over in the Czech didn't know the Lord.
And we didn't go in there with deep theological teaching. All we went there with was the love of Christ. And that's what won these people.